Support for Radio Friends comes from OsteoStrong. Improvements in bone density, strength, and power can be achieved by weekly 5-minute no-sweat sessions on their 4-Spectrum machines. These isometric robotic machines safely emulate high-impact loading on different parts of the skeletal system, which stimulates activity in bone-building cells. Balance and agility can be improved by 2-minute sessions on vibration plates. Every session is supervised by a trained coach. Learn more on Facebook or call to set up a complimentary wellness assessment and session. Good morning. Welcome to Radio Friends on Thursday, January the 7th. We've got a really interesting topic. In fact, every time this guy is on, I end the interview and I think about the topic for days on end. I'm talking about SCOTT CHRISTIANSON. Good to have you here, Scott. You're a professor with the University of Missouri and an expert on artificial intelligence.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
You know, the last time you were on, you were talking about that heart monitor device that you could check your own EKG.
Exactly.
And check for defibrillation?
Yeah, you could check for various abnormalities with your heart.
I found that so fascinating, and a couple of days later I was watching CNN, and there came a commercial for that exact instrument that you were talking about. So artificial intelligence is a part of our life, whether we realize it or not, every day.
Yeah, and it's one of these things that is kind of creeping into all sorts of areas, not only areas like medicine and autonomous vehicles and things like that are kind of obvious, but even creeping into areas like art and music.
So AI is now doing artwork?
This is a picture of an AI-generated artwork, one of the first that ever went up for auction at Christie's. Really? And it's interesting how this works. It's something we called adversarial networks. So you actually have two AIs working against each other, so to speak, or working to solve the same problem.
So two artificial intelligence
working together. One generates a picture. The other one is trained on what is an appropriate picture and either rejects or accepts changes to that picture.
So they're talking to each other.
They're talking to each other.
How do they decide who is going to win this conversation? And that
Well,
they're going to draw?
what the one that is accepting, or is the judge, if you will, is trained on all sorts of previous artworks done by humans. So it has an idea of what pattern to look for in art in order for it to be good art. And the other AI is trying to generate something that will pass muster with the judging AI, if you will.
So how are these two artificial intelligence painting this picture or drawing this picture or creating this picture?
So they're not using brushes and paint and things like that.
Is there a little robot arm that's painting?
No, this gets printed out afterward. It's generated as a visual image in the computer itself, and then that's passed from one computer, one AI, to the other.
So it's thinking the image.
It's in some ways trying different possibilities. So it's kind of like a trial and error. And one of the things that these AIs can do is they can do lots of trial and error millions and millions of times, right? So you and I, if we were doing the same exercise, I could probably paint one or two things a day, whereas an AI can do millions an hour. And so
millions an hour.
Right.
Are you able to sit there and watch it thinking?
Yes, you can actually see the different iterations in between.
Oh my gosh.
But this artwork was the first of its kind to come up before Christie's and was actually sold for over $400,000.
Come on.
Yep. I'll put a link at learnabout.ai.
This particular piece of artwork was put together by artificial intelligence, and it sold for $400,000?
Yes, and you'll notice there, instead of a signature, it has an equation on the bottom where the artist's signature would be, and that was one of the basic equations that was used to start to generate this artwork.
So that was a computer, the artificial intelligence signature.
Yeah, so it's basically there were three researchers that came up with this scenario and built these AIs, and this is one of the formulas they used.
Now, that's pretty hard for me to wrap my mind around, that somebody would pay $400,000 for a piece of artwork.
Well, that's probably what somebody...
Was that the first?
Yeah, it was the first one. So
Okay.
if you had a chance to go back and buy the first Picasso ever, you'd probably do it, right?
I guess.
So,
Do you ever foresee art shows featuring only artificial intelligence?
no, but what I see is there are actually a number of artists that are pairing with AI. So there's another website called AIartists.org, and these are artists that are trying to leverage machine learning, artificial intelligence to augment their own art. So they're steering the AI in different ways and working alongside it. So just as when we talked about AI in medicine, it's not going to replace cardiologists and radiologists. It's going to augment their work or make
Right.
it better. And that's where I think we're going to see AI going in art. It's not going to replace an artist. It's going to be these people that are working with AIs that come up with some pretty remarkable stuff.
I just find this fascinating. As Spock would say on Star Trek, fascinating, Captain. It's just so where are we going to go next with artificial intelligence?
Well, it's also being used to create music. So you can also create music by feeding a number of songs into an AI, training it on what that genre of music is like, and then it will produce a new song or new number.
First in Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yes, I
And
remember.
the computer generated the music to communicate with the aliens.
Right. Well, I don't think that's where we're going, but maybe the next boy band that's successful or popular will be using music generated by an AI rather than written by a person.
Yeah. Now you see, here I am, like I'm old school in the old generation. I guess a lot of young people, this really is nothing new to them because they expect it and they're used to the computer.
Yeah, I don't know that that's a fair generalization over everything, but I think that they have not known a time when there wasn't a Google or a YouTube, right? And you and I remember floppy disks, and they don't remember, time before a cell phone.
Well, I'm a fan of Star Trek, and I watched the old original Star Trek, and when Captain Kirk and Spock are talking to the computer, give me an analysis of this star system. This is what we're doing with our phones. Just
Yes,
asking it a
exactly.
question, and it answers immediately.
And that has become commonplace,
Right. We use it. We all use it every day. Hey, Scott, we're out of time for today. Please come back. Please come
Certainly,
back. You're
certainly.
fascinating. If you want more information, go to learnabout.ai.
.ai.
That's the website. Learnabout.ai. And it's just chock full of mind-boggling information. Scott Christianson, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, go out and have yourself a nice day, and remember, wear that mask. Bye-bye.